In today's video, I wanted to talk about applying search engine optimization to your e-commerce website. I did a survey on my Instagram account yesterday, and more people asked to create like a video where I could tell a little bit more about search engine optimization. Let's say if you have an e-commerce website, then what are the steps that are critical to guarantee that you have an increasing organic traffic on your e-commerce store. So in this video, we're going to go through this series of steps or key elements you need to focus on your website to make sure that you guarantee high organic traffic. Let's begin. So I suppose you heard about the Pareto principle, that in any case you can do like 20 things that will guarantee 80% of success, and vice versa. You can do 80 things that do not guarantee the success. So in this particular case, we have 80% of things that you can do on your website in terms of optimizing it that will guarantee the success. The other 20% are the things that I call like fine-tuning. They will also give you some leverage and some benefits in terms of attributing organic traffic, but they are not that much important. Like these things right here, this I would say are 80% that would guarantee the success of the organic program of your e-commerce website. All right, so first of all, number one here, there is a statement that says backlinks are not important. So as you probably know, in search engine optimization, there are 3 or 4 major components. So let's say this is on website SEO, this is backlinks or off-site SEO, this is technical SEO, and also there is like the fourth point, I would say this is the content production, content marketing. In this particular case, I would say that you don't need to focus on acquiring backlinks. Like the major work that you need to do on your website, it's on-page SEO and making sure that your website itself is great, is ready to accept customers, and it's like basically you don't need to focus on off-site SEO or technical SEO at this point. You only need to focus on these points. So backlinks are not important. The reason is that if you do everything correctly on your website, and if you apply some additional steps to show Google that your website exists on the web, it will be enough for Googlebot to visit your website, index it, crawl it, index it, and put it in a certain place in their search results. So you can, of course, add backlinks on top. You can build backlinks, you can acquire backlinks different ways, but in the beginning, this is not your top priority. Next thing is you need to focus on category pages. I did a short video on my Instagram account to show the difference between product pages and category pages. I'm advocating for focusing your efforts largely on category pages because they serve like hubs versus individual product pages. So category pages are important because they accumulate link equity and link authority from underlying subcategories and underlying product pages. It's a bigger topic that I might explore it in more detail in another video. But for now, you need to understand that you need to prioritize your energy and your time on working on your category pages. You want to create a logical structure of your website. So your main menu, that's the top of your website. That's where Googlebot starts crawling from. It should be very logical. You can have like rich menu with subcategories included, or you could have like simple menu, but you want to make sure it's very clear to navigate. All time ago, there was a browser called Links. I don't know if people use it anymore or not. Some highly technical SEOs, they are of course familiar with it. But back in days, we used to be using this browser to see what Googlebot can see when they navigate to a website. But basically, what you want to accomplish here, you want to make sure that from the consumer's perspective, let's say if you are selling dog food on your website, then if a customer visits your website, they should be able to quickly identify what kinds of dog food exist on your website, dog food products, what are the main categories, and it should all be in your main menu at the very top. What I learned at one of the conferences is that you want to have 5x5 structure. So you want to have like 5 main menu elements, like elements in the main menu, but also each of these elements should unfold in 5 sub-elements or subcategories. So this way you would have, let's say, 25 total elements in your main menu, 5x5 grid. And this is like a clear structure for Googlebot to navigate, crawl, and index. And of course, each of these 5 subcategories can be expanded into more subcategories. But we'll talk about that later or in another video. Next thing is, so you want to focus more on creating category descriptions and use internal linking. What I mean by that is that, let's say if you have, if you sell dog food, you have a certain dog food products on your website, let's say wet dog food, there is a category for that. So you want to make sure you create a great category description that you can position at the bottom under the product listings in that category. You can start with, let's say, having 200 words of copy. I prefer to have more, maybe 300, 400, 500 words describing this particular category. And what's important here, and we're actually going to the next step here. So you want to make sure you tap into the true desire of your customers. You tap into the true desire, true needs, into mass desire of your market. Like, why exactly they want to buy wet dog food for their dogs? Let's say, what's the difference between dry dog food and other types of dog food? So you want to make sure that you address this question and other questions that you uncover during your research. You want to address these questions in the category description on that category. So internal linking here means that instead of backlinks that we mentioned in the first element here, you want to focus rather on internal linking. What I mean here is that when you create a category description, make sure that some of the words in the copy can be anchor texts pointing to other subcategories on your website, to related subcategories on your website. Ideally, these internal links should be within context, surrounding by words. If it's not possible, you can always add these internal links under the copy, under the text. It's not desirable though, it's okay, but it would be better if you manage to weave in these anchor texts and internal links inside the copy of the category description. Again, like before, I mentioned that you want to have 5x5 structure in your main menu. You could replicate the same structure in your category descriptions. So let's say if you have, once again, let's say you're selling dog supplies and one of your main categories is dog food. So you can have, let's say, a dry dog food, wet dog food, grain-free dog food, whatever, anything, all other types of dog food as subcategories to your main category. So the links in dog food category description can be pointing to these subcategories within the copy of the description. This will help Google to navigate around your website and index the pages correctly. And also it will help distribute the link equity between the pages of your website very evenly. Next thing is, so I mentioned tapping into the true needs or mass desire of your target audience. This is again a separate topic. You just want to make sure that you do some surveys, you do some research, you talk to your customers, collect their feedback, and you want to understand why they really want to buy this particular type of dog food or the products that you are selling. And then, as I mentioned before, you want to address it in your category description. Next thing is, and this is a very important step, there is a tool called Google Search Console. It's a free tool that webmasters use. Basically, you log in there using your Google account and you submit your website. You add your website to Google Search Console. So once you've done that, you get access to a free set of tools that is very helpful for your marketing and for understanding how to generate organic traffic to your website. So what you want to do there is a section there where you can add your sitemap. So sitemap is an XML file that is automatically generated by your online store. It generates automatically if you're using Shopify, for example. So and you can find the link to this file in if you go to your webdomain.com, let's say /robots.txt. You will see a web page, and on that web page you will see a link pointing to your sitemap URL. So what you want to do, you want to copy that URL, go to Google Search Console, I put GSC for short here, and inside Google Search Console there is an option to submit your sitemap there to Google Search Console. Once you've done that, Google will take some time to review it, but then they will be able to crawl this file, your entire website index, and add some pages of your website into their search results. That's to put it simply. Now these pages will become indexed, and Googlebot will crawl all these pages in your sitemap, and you will start receiving organic traffic basically. Depending on the effectiveness of the previous steps, this will guarantee more or less organic traffic, but this is what you want to do. Very first thing, once you set up your website, created your product categories, wrote product copy, category copy, then you can submit your sitemap to Google Search Console. Or you can do it prior to writing your category copy, that's fine. This page is, once this sitemap XML file is in Google Search Console, Google will be crawling your pages regularly, and you'll be able to see the changes in Google Search Console in terms of how many pages were crawled, how many pages were indexed, how many pages are not active anymore or not live, etc., etc. There are lots of helpful details in Google Search Console. Next thing is, and here is a very interesting point, because it's here in the next point we're creating a loop that will guarantee the increase, a perpetual increase in organic traffic to your website. What I mean by that is that once you added your categories to your website, once you submitted your sitemap to Google Search Console, once you've created the, let's say 500 words category description on your category pages, now you should be able to start seeing some organic traffic. In Google Search Console, you can find the keyword report. In that keyword report, you want to exclude branded keywords. There is a filter for that. So you filter out branded keywords. Let's say if your website is johnsdogsupplies.com, then you want to filter out all the words that contain the word John. And then you will be able to see the non-branded keywords that draw visitors from Google to your website. What you want to do now, look through this list of keywords, write out some of them that denote some bigger topics. Let's say if you're selling pet supplies, then this could be a keyword that people were searching for, something like, again, like grain, non-grain cat food, for example. In this case, this could be a great candidate for a new category. So what you want to do, you want to see this, go through this list of keywords, find those keywords that seem like great topics, and what I do next, I double check them in a tool called SEMrush. You could use Ahrefs, you could use any other tool for that. I've been using SEMrush, and you can see how much search volume that particular keyword has. So now if you see that depending on your niche, let's say you have 1,000 visitors or 6,000 visitors or maybe 50,000 visitors to that keyword in Google search results, then you definitely want to make sure you create a subcategory and find a place for it in the structure, like somewhere in the structure of your website. So this way you create a loop, because you create a new category, you write a meta description, category description for it, then automatically, once that page is created, this new category page will be added to your sitemap. Your sitemap is already in Google. It's already in Google Search Console. So Google is crawling it automatically every, I don't know, like every day, every 2 days, every 3 days. Sooner or later, that new page, that new category will show up in Google search results. You'll get more keywords because of that. You'll get more keywords in your keyword report in Google Search Console. And then you just rinse and repeat. So this is how you create this traffic generating loop. Next thing is, and this is probably the classical SEO, but I put it at the very end of my list, is you want to make sure that you have the correct page title, you want to make sure you have the correct meta description and the correct H tags on your category pages. Again, this is basics. I don't want to cover it in more detail here because you can find it in any guideline on classical SEO. I might create additional video to expand this topic a little bit in more detail. But what you want to make sure, you want to use an extension. I highly recommend you to use this extension that I've been using myself. It's called SEO Meta in one click. It's a free extension for Google Chrome, and it allows you to check all these important elements in your on your category page. So a few more words here. So you want to make sure your page titles are short, straight to the point, and describe the category page in not in too much detail, but they kind of summarize what this category is about. Meta descriptions should be should contain call to action. They should be they should tap into the mass desire. That's what I can recommend. So there is a great book by Eugene Schwartz, and it's called Breakthrough Advertisement. In that book, the author describes very well what a mass desire is. So ideally, and this is the approach I like to use, you want to implement, you want to tap into the mass desire of your customers inside your meta descriptions. Meta descriptions, they are basically an ad copy. And again, I think I'm going to uncover it in more detail in another topic, but for now you want to make sure that your meta descriptions, they contain your main keyword for that category. This keyword is as close to the beginning as possible. You want to make sure that you tap into the mass desire, and you want to make sure you have, let's say, the call to action, like shop best dog food at this store, at my store, or whatever you prefer. And lastly, H tags. You want to have only one H1 tag at the very top of your page. You want to have a very organized structure of H2, H3, H4 tags up to H6 if you need, but H1 should be at the very top, and then in descending order you should gradually apply H2s, H3s, H4s. You can have as many H2 tags, H3 tags, etc. as you want. Just make sure they have a nested structure. So H3s should be within H2, H2s should be within H1 tag. And the order should be correct. H1 at the top, and you don't want to have H4s higher on the page in the page code than H2s or H3s. I think that's it for today. I hope this helps. If you apply these steps, this will guarantee an increase to organic traffic to your website, to your e-commerce website. You will sell more goods. Yep, that's it. So please subscribe to my channel, and bye next time.